Good morning. Good. God bless you. God bless you. How are you? Good morning. Day 10, 9. That's 9. And 5. 9 and 5. Working 9 to 5. Oh, we just, yeah, see, y'all just changed the orders there because now it's 5 to 9. So mm, that's something. So, Kim, since you're the new baby, we're going to have to give you a number. So, well, okay, that'll work. Which is, my God, that's Kim. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna send in the baby now. This is the little sister. Now we're telling them you all want to deal with us. You don't want to have to deal with the little sister. Then when the baby shows up, yeah, we can go on about our business because the baby says, "Oh, don't worry about this, big brother. I got it." Yeah, it's going to be like our basic training. Of course, it was an all male flight, meaning all men on that bus. It's maybe 2 o'clock in the morning when that bus picks us up from the airport in San Antonio, and this big giant. This guy was about 6'6", big dude from the mountains, big white guy. Yeah, and he got on that bus calling us names and talking about our mamas and threatening us and all kinds of things. And he got us into the building on Lackland, and he's yelling at us, "Hey, good morning, well, good afternoon," all the way from Malawi. And he's just doing crazy stuff, and he's fussing at us while we're on the floor in the day room. And then because it's now 3:30 in the morning, and he's still going on, and folks started to get sleepy, this man ripped the desk top off and threw it in, and he had our undivided attention. Well, you know, we were hoping and praying that it was going to get better for us, and only to find out that in the morning at 5:05 that this man was not going to be our drill instructor. He was not our sergeant. Our sergeant was a petite, little blonde-haired woman. See, for him, I don't remember his name. I just remember that he was big and he was from Eureka, California, and he wore about a size 18 boot. That's all I remember about him. But our actually drill instructor, that 5'5", maybe 100-pound, short blonde hair, looked like she could be in high school. She showed up in the morning. She talked to us. Her name was Deborah Ruschenberg. She talked to us for 5 minutes, and all of us was wishing we had that man back. She was the meanest thing you ever wanted to see. Actually, you didn't want to see her. We all remember her. You don't. If you don't remember anybody else's, folks, this is almost 50 years ago, and if you don't remember anybody else's name, you remember that one. That was significant. That's the one that the baby is going to represent. When we send in the baby of the family, it's a wrap. Nobody's going to forget her. Well, welcome everybody. This is a new day. This is going to be the first day, the best days of your life. There's some revelation. I posted something last night or yesterday when I had this thought. Just listening to people and their testimonies and the struggles and their concerns. And again, someone asked me about the Egyptian curses, and and I thought about that because we're not talking about people who died. We're talking about people who love God, who are filled with the Holy Spirit, dealing these curses, so to speak. Then I saw some things on I don't know if it was on Facebook. Something popped up about these testimonies of uh, screenwriters, people who write for television shows, and like Harry Potter and you know, some of their Teenage Witch and all of these. And these writers said the way that they would come up with this was they would listen to other, not just shows, but listen to people talk on Facebook and read books on witchcraft and things. And so the writer, she said, "Oh, I was just making up. So I would take some of the things that I heard, and I would just put it all together, and it sounds so authentic." And then the show received a call from a witch in New Orleans, and the witch told, you know, had a message for the writers, is that you need to be careful of what you're doing. You're actually you've got these actors actually casting spells and sending the witchcraft is being activated, and it's affecting children and all that. This is a witch telling them. I guess the witch just wanted these writers to know what you're actually doing and what you're releasing in these homes, and the children think that this is harmless, and it's not. So if you're going to cast a spell, they want you to know what spell you cast. You just told them that what you're doing is very dangerous, and you might want to rethink what it is that you're doing. And she said, well, you know what? I thought it was still harmless, so she continued to do it. She got delivered. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we do. We think that it's harmless, but it's not. It's not harmless because of who you are and in the likeness and abilities that you've been given. And so when someone said to me about uh, dealing with a curse, I just feel like I'm cursed, bloodline is cursed. And I said, no, it can't be, because you've been blessed. Yeah, you've been blessed. I've had situations where I think it was right around, we were doing something at JTC, and it may have been around the holidays, but we had ordered these pizzas from Sam's Club. My wife had, and she put everything together, and she ordered them and paid for them and gave me a seat. So I was going to pick them up, a bunch of them. And when I got there, I saw this long line of folks who were to place an order. And then there was another long line for people who were waiting to pay for the order or something. But there was two long lines, and then there was one line that nobody was standing in, but I saw the sign. And so I asked people, I said, are you waiting to place an order? And they said, no, I'm not. One was, yes, I'm waiting to place an order. So, okay, here to place an order. Are you waiting for whatever that one was? And I said, okay, well, I'm not here for that either. And I saw the other one that said pickup. And so as I walked up to the front of the counter, I didn't see a line. I was walking up to the front of the counter, then people who were standing in the line uh, to my right, a couple of folks said, hey, you can't just walk up there. You're going to have to wait in line like everybody else. And I said, well, sir, what are you waiting for? And they said, well, I'm waiting to pick up. And I said, you're standing in the wrong line. See the sign that you're standing in? You got in the wrong line. And so people start getting in, and they came in and got in behind me. And one thought, well, he was saying, no, you're going to have to get behind me because I was first. I said, no, sir, you weren't first. You may have been in the store before I was, and you may have been in line. Now, folks, mind you, there are people who are listening. I said, you may have been standing in line, but it's not my fault that you stood in the wrong line. Well, I've already paid for mine. I'm just here to pick up. So am I. But I had already turned in my receipts. They're going to get my order. And he says, it's just not right. And I said, see, that's what happens with a lot of people, is that even for people who love, we're blessed, but we stand in the wrong line. Now, in the wrong line is to say that I'm in agreement with what's about to be released to everybody who's in this line. I mean, preachers always looking, you get a crowd, you don't mind, giving them some revelation. So what has happened with many of us is that we think that we're cursed because we stand in the wrong line. Well, when in line, again, that means that I'm in agreement, and an agreement is a covenant. So now I've got a covenant, somebody in my bloodline, somebody in my house, where in my life, for one thing or another. You know how it feels like I'm struggling in one area? Yeah, I've got this other stuff. So we don't have to talk about the stuff that we're getting right. At one area in my life where there's a struggle. Well, then you go back to that area again. Struggle means that you're not submitted. I haven't given this to the Lord. If I can't do it, and you're perfecting the things concerning me, and this is something that's concerning me, and to perfect is to change, to transform, to complete, then the areas that I'm to complete, but I can't do it on my own, I need your help. And he says, I'm perfecting. I'll complete the things that you can't complete. I will finish. You can't finish on your own. I'm perfecting those things concerning you. I'm taking care of your house. I'm taking care of your spouse. I'm taking care of your past, your present, and your future, if you let me. And so we hear things, and at some place in our bloodline, there's somebody who has come into an agreement with a diagnosis and with something that someone said would happen. They said that it is, and they said that it would happen, that it would continue. When you're blood washed, I'm talking about those of us, we go back to yesterday, I said Adam, and I said that the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Aleph, and Aleph actually consists two letters and two numbers, because each Hebrew letter has a numerical value. There's only 22 alphabet or alpha, and the first being Aleph, and in that you have the two hands, or the yod. Yod is number 10, or the 10th letter of the alphabet, and then you have the vav. The vav is number 6, which is like a slanted or a diagonal line that is connected. It's got a hand here or here and a yod there. So you've got, okay, it would like it would be 16, but that equals 1. All right, so you've got the hands. And then with the word Adam, or the name Adam, which is named for man, you have the Aleph, which is number 1, and the word Dam, which means blood. Now you have 6, which is man, the hands, the two hands, and blood. So the blood hands of the man, or the Adam, is going to have to shed blood, and the hands represent work, or works that need to be done, and that's been assigned to man. Anyway, so with that, you have the yod, which is also in the name, or the most holy name of God. I'm talking about those of us who have been blood washed, are baptized, spirit filled, love the Lord, love the Lord. The significant usage of that 10th letter, or the hands, or yod, and when I said that it's in the most holy name, it's the very name Adonai or Lord Hashem, which is the name, is used during prayer, but Yod. Okay, so Yod He Vav He, Yod He or is the letter Y, He, H. Valve, we pronounce that as valve or as VAV, but it's going to be W, uh, Y, H, W, and then Hey, H. The tetragrammaton is going to say, will say Yahweh, but there are no vowels. So you're going to see these Y, H, W, H, and you see that, then you say, well, that's Yahweh. Now get this, because it has everything to do. The pronunciation is going to be breath. You don't mind if I give you this lesson real quick, do you? Folks who you're viewing, you're tuning in on. I want you to like and share. And for those of you who are listening on Clubhouse, welcome. I just start talking. This is Conversations with Dr. Jerome. I get so excited with a word that I forget sometimes realities and whatever. But I want you to share this, and I want you to get this because I'm gonna teach you real quick how to pronounce Yahweh the proper way. It has nothing to do with your breath. You don't even have to bring your lips together. All you got to do is take a breath. Are you ready? You ready? Yahweh. Okay? Because it's going to be, take a breath in. And then you let it out. So when you're talking, this is some real, this is worship. This is, can you do that? Just try breath in, saying Yah. And you're pushing it out, way, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Okay, so when you do that, this is what I'm talking to, and you say, well, how is it then that? So it's because there's definitely a curse somewhere. Well, one, you keep coming into agreement by speaking it. So this is a covenant that you're establishing, that there is a curse somewhere, and then what you're doing, because God cannot curse what he has already blessed. So since you have already been blessed, even God cannot curse you. Well, then why am I living this way? I wanted to say, baby, you're standing in the wrong line. It's because you got into the line with the people who don't know God, who are not blood washed. You got into the line of the people who are in a process, when all you do was to get, that's it, a deep cleansing breath. What all you needed to do was get into the line where everything has been paid, and I'm just here to pick up my product. It's been paid, everything is ready for me. All I need to do is get in line or come into agreement. To get in line is to come into agreement. And to come into an agreement is a covenant. So now, you might say, okay, well, this covenant has been established somewhere in my bloodline where, because I'm the healed of the Lord. And this goes back thousands of years before I was born. So my bloodline then supposed to be walking in divine health. That's the promise. So this is the covenant promise. Remember yesterday I said that we are carriers or containers of the covenant promises of God. So that I am the ark of, and I'm coming out of myself. I'm bringing the promises of God out of myself, because I cannot be sustained by a promise. A promise only gives me hope. A promise gives me hope of a better future. But see, hope, we only hope for the things that we do not have. I don't need any more promises. I got enough. I've got enough promises to give me a lot of hope, but I cannot be by hope. Hope is going to motivate me to keep pressing. Don't get me wrong. Hope is a good thing. It's the element of faith. But you only hope, according to Romans 8, for things that you do not have. Now, the word has already declared, I've been given all things that pertain to life and godliness through the knowledge of him who has called me to glory and virtue. So I don't need to hope for what I have. I don't hope that I have these headphones. I have them on. I don't hope to put on these glasses. I have them on already. I'm not hoping for this watch. I'm wearing it. I'm not hoping for this shirt. I'm wearing it. I'm not hoping this room. I'm in the room. So you only hope for the things that you don't have. I have these things. So the promise is the thing that you don't have. So the promise is going to generate hope, better future. I'm only hoping for the things I do not have. I have these things. I'm not hoping, get this, I'm not hoping for divine health. I don't just have a promise of divine health. I have divine health. So if there's something going on in my bloodline that's not in agreement with divine health, then I have to do what these folks at Sam's Club did. When I showed up and walked up to the front of the line, because I came in agreement with what was given to me. Now, what I had in my hand is that everything belongs to me. Everything that's been paid for me is for me. And all I need to do is come into agreement with that ticket. I come into with that, and I'm walking in my covenant agreement and received everything that was already mine. So what I need to do, if I'm in the wrong line, out of agreement, did you get that? I need to come out of agreement with the wrong space that I've been operating in, and I need to agree, meaning walk, operate in covenant. My bloodline, my house cannot be cursed. It can't be cursed. Well, why are they acting that way? Because they're standing in the wrong line. I mean, how many times that happened to you? How many times? How many times have you been in the wrong line? How many times? We're going through immigration. Was it immigration? Yeah, when we just coming to another country, and I'm seeing these lines, and I'm like, oh, these are long lines, y'all. All of them are long, and so at one point, I don't even know what I think we was in Turkey, and I told my wife, I said, okay, well, Donna, you stand right here. Let's just see, because I'm seeing which one of these officers are moving the fastest, and I said, okay. This one looks like there's a lot of people in line, but this is a group that's together. They still have to be processed individually, but this officer is moving a whole lot faster than this one. This officer is moving like she's ready to take a lunch break or she wants to go home, but she's got to get through this line. I think I'm gonna get in this line over here. And then my wife ended up coming over and standing next to me, because people saw how long the line was, so they wasn't gonna get in it. But I got in it, not based on the length of the line, but on the person who was moving through it. Getting everybody done. Then we end up having to wait for the person who with us, who stood in the shorter line. We was finished on the other side, waiting. Yeah, so what we have to do, folks, is in the right line. Get in the right line. Come into agreement. Make your words, the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart. They're acceptable in your sight, O God, when my words and meditations agree with your provision. I'm not, now let the weak say I'm what? I'm strong. Let the poor say, I'm rich. So I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed. I'm bold. And I'm proud of my God. I boast on who my Father is. I'm proud who made heaven and earth. Yod He Vav He. Yod He Vav He. But Alberta say that's a deep cleansing. Yahweh. Oh my God. You know what? You do that and somebody says, oh no, I start feeling the presence and I was going into another space. And you was getting rest out if you did it too much. But I start feeling a freshness because I'm focusing on this. It's not just a matter of a practice or routine or anything, but I'm saying this is the name. The name, and the name, remember, is the authority and reputation. Hashem, authority and reputation. Yeah, 10, that's going to be perfection. 5, that's favor. And then we go back to 5, to the 6. That's man. And see, Vav and Aleph. This is just something. Here's a thought just popped in my head, y'all. So I'm just sharing it with you. All right. So when you have the Aleph, have again the Vav, which is that diagonal line, and then you have Yod. You got a hand that's reaching above into the eternal, and then you have a hand that's beneath that line, which is also eternal. So before, then there is, and then what is to come. What eternal, what is in the natural realm, and what is to come. That's what I got to see how I can put one of those up on the screen for you. But if you just type in Aleph, the alphabet, or the Aleph, A-L P-H, E-P-H, A-L-E-P-H. All right, folks, I've been talking for a little while, but I want you to get this. When it comes to the covenant and feeling as though there's a curse in your, then if you are the first person in your family to receive Jesus Christ, then you might have something. But if this is generational, then know that it's not a curse. If I'm talking about generational bloodline, when your grandmother was spirit filled, your great grandfather was spirit filled, and then your grandfather and your father spirit filled, and then even for you and for your children, for you and your house, everybody that you have ever known in your family, your immediate bloodline, that they're spirit, and but yet there's a curse somewhere. Well, folks, we walk in divine health. Can I say this? That means that it's illegal for sickness to operate in our bodies, even in our corporal or our temporal, these physical bodies. It's illegal for poverty to exist in our house. Why? Because we are rich. He's given us all things. We are wealthy. The God of more than is called us by his name. And to say that he has called us by his name, he has called us by his authority and reputation. The very existence of wealth is here for each one of us. We're not supposed to be broke. We're supposed to have more than enough. We're not supposed to be sick. We're supposed to walk in divine health, and we do that. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I'm getting out of the wrong, I've been standing in the wrong line. It's been okay for me to be this way. We've just accepted it because this is, the doctors will ask you about that. They always want to know about, did my mother have high blood pressure? And was there cancer or diabetes in my family, in my bloodline, especially my immediate bloodline? What are they talking about? They're talking about what we would say generational curses, where it's gone from generation to generation. Well, why is that? Because we've been told that it's okay. So we've been taught that this is something that's normal. So we've been comfortable standing in the wrong line. And remember, to stand in a means to come into agreement with. And when you're in an agreement, you're in a covenant. So there's a covenant agreement for this to operate in your body. There's a covenant agreement for this to operate in your finances. There's agreement for this to operate in your family. Well, I just realized today that I've been standing in the wrong line. I am getting out of the line. Okay, well, this line has, I'm not standing in the line of people who are Christ. I'm standing in the line for, I've paid a price, but I'm waiting to put in my order. But whatever it was, that other line was, but it was not the line for the people who just needed to pick up that had already been provided to pick up and begin to operate, take possession of the promise that's been paid for. And I got the receipt. What's the receipt? Maybe you saw the blood. I had to come through the blood in order to get to this place. What are you talking about? I'm talking about those hands, the hand that was on top and the hand that was on the bottom. And that's me in the middle when the second Adam had to manifest and shed the blood. Works of my hands have already been covered. The works, the ground I'm going to cover has already been blessed. And the fact that I had to get in to the most holy place, meaning the first thing I'm going to experience is the blood. Washed in the blood, been bought by the blood, been showered, sprinkled, baptized, all of this in the blood. So I'm covered. That happened the instant that I got saved, folks. That happened the instant I got saved. And now what I need to do is I needed some mentors, somebody to tell me the truth about who I am in Christ, somebody to tell me the truth about now my renewed bloodline. And if you're the first one in your family, then what had been okay in your bloodline, now you're the one who broke it. Or how did you break it? I came out of covenant with the wrong line. I got in line. So how do you break it? Baby, it was broken when you received Jesus Christ. You just didn't know it. Now all you need to do is come into agreement with what the Word of God has already declared and begin to declare the things that He has declared about you. I say that I walk in divine health. Why? Because He told me is the one. I got healed. He bore my sicknesses and my sins in His own body at Calvary. It was nailed to the cross, went into a grave, and then He burned it up in hell just for me. I'm delivered, set me free, filled me up, fired me up, set me forward, called me to Himself, called me by His name. My God. All right, I need to stop talking now. I need to stop talking because I think somebody got it. If you got it, will you show me some sort of sign? Somebody show me a sign on YouTube. Let me know that you got it. I've been standing in the wrong line. Man of God, I am lining up with what the Word of God has already spoken to me. Cancer does not belong in my body. Tumors do not belong in my body. Whatever it is. Hypertension does not belong in my body. Whatever it is, talk to it, tell it. You don't belong in my body. You don't belong in my bloodline, because if I don't come out of agreement, then my children are going to be in agreement with it, because they're going to see this is what Daddy did. So this is what I'm doing. I'm not going to die at a young age. I'm not going to do it. I come out of that agreement. No, 70 is not enough. See, my grandfather just wanted to make 70. Sometimes life has a way of beating you up and wearing you down. Well, he didn't know about his covenant. And so I thought my granddaddy, I thought he was an old man when he died, but he always that he wanted to be 70. That was his promise. That's the minimum. I don't want to barely get it. My body is not going to look like it's older. Am I criticizing my grandfather? No, he taught me a lesson that I've been living as he died. He turned 70 in January and he died in April of 1972. I remember that. I remember hearing him say the things that he said. I remembered the way that he lived. I remembered it's okay because he worked so hard. I'm going to work hard. I've worked hard. And I would even dare to say maybe my work has been different, but my travels have greatly, I have far exceeded even the imagined dreams of my father, my grandfather. I've done all of those things, not bragging about it. It's not bragging, it's just a fact. These are the things. I've got a lot of miles on this body, but I'm telling you, this body ain't quit yet. You know, we got the promises of Abraham. I don't just want his promises on his days. Somebody said, well, that's impossible to have his days. No, maybe it's impossible with you, but he says that I can have what I said. His days, he only lived to be 175. I want the days of Abraham. That's a promise. I want the health of Moses at 120. His eyes weren't dim and his natural forces weren't abated. He was still strong. And I want the fight of Caleb. The fight of at 85, he didn't ask for help. He just said, give me that mountain. He still had the fight of a 40-year-old when he was a 40-year-old warrior. But see, it was Caleb and Joshua who came into agreement with the covenant, the thing that God has said. We are well able. You are well able to walk in divine health. Why? Because it's already been provided for you. You are well able to make the purchases, to live in supernatural, abundant financial overflow. Why? Already been, the provision is there. When you sow, the covenant, the corresponding return to sowing is that you shall receive. He says, give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken, and running over. I'm telling you that when you take the principles of the word and you come into agreement with the covenant of God that's been established. Now, what is that? I'm just living what God said. What are you doing over here? Because this is what God said. This is what God said. He told me to get in line. But no, you're supposed to be over there. He told me to get in line. They're going to think that you're crazy. Well, that's what the military doctors said. The surgeons, when I told them I'm going to walk again, I'm going to walk without assistance. I'm going to run. I'm going to jump. I'm going to do everything that I did before I had this spinal cord injury, where that part of your spine doesn't exist, and it doesn't. You're connected by titanium pentacle screws and metal cages, and it's impossible for you to do those things. And I said, well, it's only impossible with man. But with God, all things are possible. How can you be so sure? Well, because the Lord spoke to me and he promised he was me up. They can tell you that you're crazy, and that's what they said. They put in my military records that I hear voices. I'm delusional and all sorts of other things. And then when I said, I refuse to live like this, where I can't even wipe my own, I don't have feeling, and I'm doing this and that. I need help for everything. I refuse to live like, so they said I was suicidal. Well, if that's what suicidal and delusion means, then sign me up. And they put my wife and I in a class after we had Tiffany. We had to go through this, what do you call these classes? These groups, these therapy groups, or where, well, anyway, and I sat there and I was quiet as long as I could be. And finally I speak, and I said, you all keep talking about how your child is dying with this. We don't see our child. Tiffany is not dying with anything. She's living in spite of it. So we're not looking at and planning on death, these things in place. No, we're talking about, I'm here because we need to see in how we can improve the quality of her life. And she's going to live and not die. This is what I would speak. They kind of told us not to come back group. But anyway, because they said that I wasn't operating real. And I told these folks that this is faith and beyond. I trust God. I trust in God, my Savior, the one. Okay. All right. That's the one. He's the one. Somebody say that again. You just need to take that breath in and then blow it out. Yahweh. Make it personal. Breath of God. Holy. Refreshing. Life. I got to stop talking, y'all. I got to stop. I need to hear what it is that you have to say. I want you to know. Come into agreement with what God said. Doesn't matter what man says, doesn't matter what mama, daddy, anybody who has not been telling you the truth of who you are. Get out of that line. When you line up with that, that's what you're going to eat. That's what you're going to reap. I'm in the wrong line. I don't eat meat, so I'm not going to be in the chicken line. I'm going to be over here with the asparagus and the cabbage and the green. I'm going to be in the right line. And if what's being presented to you is not consistent with the covenant of God for you, don't agree with it. Don't agree with that. Somebody were to say to me, hey, Dr. McGee, we have this plate and it's been prepared just for you. We know that this is chicken. You talked about how you used to like in chicken and ribs or steak, this great porterhouse steak. This is your favorite and all that. And so this was ordered for you. I don't know who ordered it and I don't know who paid for it, but I'm not going to eat that. Meaning I'm not going to agree with what somebody else, just because somebody paid a price or you were inconvenienced to do this for me. I appreciate it, but you need to give this to somebody who eats this. I am not going to put that in my body. I'm not going to take what it is that you said is my truth. Just because they're saying this is what you did, you don't have to do it. Well, they're saying this is what I did, so I might as well go ahead and do it. No, I'm going to be true. I'm going to stay in agreement. I'm going to come into agreement and stay in agreement. It doesn't matter what it is, folks. It doesn't matter what it is. Maybe some of the things that I've mentioned were extreme. Maybe it's just the thought. It's not enough for me to be able to hold my tongue. That's my goal, to stop fussing. Now, this is not my truth. I'm talking in general. It's not my goal to stop fussing. It's not my goal, I just wanted to cuss him out, but I was able to hold my tongue. Well, don't celebrate yet. Don't celebrate because you still had to hold your tongue. That means that that's still on the inside of you. Didn't speak it, but it's still in you. You continue to call on and continue to declare, oh God, I trust in you, my Savior. You're the one. You're the one who set me, who made me free. You hold my future. You order my future. I trust in the one who orders. That's you. You give order. You give assignment to my tomorrows. You set everything up for me. And all I need to do is come into agreement with the finished work of, oh my God. Oh my God. I love you all. I speak blessings and peace and the power, the provision. You're getting ready to shift some things in your house. Your bloodline is about to change after today. I'm in agreement with the word of God. I'm in agreement with what the Lord has already spoken. You need to go through that. Find these promises, and these promises, this is agreement. It's only a promise because you haven't got in the right line yet. Tired of being broke. I'm in agreement with supernatural abundant overflow. I'm not going to fly economy. And you think you're too good for economy? I just need to be a little bit more comfortable. You're going to close the curtain so I can't even see, but we're sitting next to that in business. But I can smell, I can hear. I've been in first class before. I kind of like it. If you're going to be on a plane for 19 hours, 15 hours one way, 19 hours one way, you need to be comfortable. Let me tell you something. Okay, I know. My wife went with me. We flew together to Istanbul. And then we flew from Istanbul. We went to Tanzania. And then we left there and we spent, about 8 days in Malawi. And I wanted to make sure that she was comfortable the entire way. I wanted to make sure because it wasn't about me, it's about my wife. I love her. She's special to me. And then coming back, I I had an issue, you all. I did. And we were in Turkey for what, about a day and a half. And just sitting at the table, getting ready to order something. And somebody said something. You know, this man was kind of rude. Yeah, so y'all pray for me. He was kind of rude. And I'm trying to talk to the man, and my wife said something to me, and this man turned to my wife, raised his voice, and got nasty. Well, that didn't work for me. That didn't work for me. Yeah, David, I don't know if I failed or I passed. Dr. V, we almost needed you for trauma because I elevated my voice, and my wife says that my eyes changed, my nose changed, my voice changed, and I talked to him straight. This young man, one, I'm old enough to be your daddy. Now, don't you say another word to my wife. And I'm looking at him like, I said, you need to look at me. Don't you say another word. As a matter of fact, you need to leave. Now, it's his restaurant. I said, you need to just walk away quickly. Because I'll probably still be in jail in Turkey. You better get out of my wife's face. Don't face her in her direction. Don't face in her direction at all. Yeah, don't face in her direction. I trust in God. Yes, I do. There's some areas in our lives that we still need work, but I trust in God. And I need to make sure my wife is comfortable. This is just me. All right? I need to make sure that my wife is comfortable in all of the places that I her. Everything, every place where she goes, I don't want her to be uncomfortable or miserable. I want her to have more than enough. You understand what I'm saying? I want my wife to have more than. As a matter of fact, when you see my wife, because you know who I am, you know that you see me. How many of you know I'm not talking about Donna? How many know that I'm talking about us, the bride of Christ? And he wants us to operate in comfort. And so he sent another comforter who's not just going to walk with us, but he's going to be inside of us. I trust in God. He has made provisions for you. And all you need to do is come into agreement with what he said and what he did for you. Oh my God, I'm 20 minutes over time. I speak blessings to you. Power, promise, provision, covenant, agreement. It changes today. Will somebody type that? Just type that up. It changes today. My bloodline, my life changes today. My agreement, I'm in agreement with what he said. Just you're right there on YouTube. Go ahead and just type that. Let me see it. Yeah, just type it out. It changed today. It changes today. And for those of you who are on YouTube, know that we're getting ready to conclude here on YouTube, and we're going over the I see you, Alberta, and that's the yod, the hands. We're gonna continue this conversation on Clubhouse. I see you. I see your daughter. It changes today. I see. I'm in agreement with it. That's it. I see your daughter, Debbie, Chanel. Blessings to you. It changes today. It changes today. It changes today. It changes today. I sought the Lord, and he heard, and he answered. This is your day. Blessings and peace. We'll see you again tomorrow. If you have something again that you'd like to add, a value to add, then join us over here on Clubhouse with Dr. McGee, Dr. Jerome. I see your daughter, Nasreen, all the way from Malawi. It changes today. Come on, daughter. I want to talk to you, Debbie, when we're blessings to you. Blessings to you all. We'll see you again tomorrow morning, same time. Remember, we're fasting every day. Every day we are fasting from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And I want you to purposely throughout the day. When you take a breath, just when you take a breath, people are going to think, wow, he's taking a deep breath. Just mm. Sing the song. There's a song that just says Yahweh. Oh, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to go someplace, y'all. I forgot that you were there just that fast, because throughout Yahweh. I'll see you all tomorrow. YouTube, let's continue this conversation here on Clubhouse. Remember that you're blessed and you're in agreement with the covenant of God. I cannot be cursed because I'm already blessed. In the morning.